Hello and welcome to AUTOiNFORM online magazine, Frank's Toolbox. In this issue, what I'd like to look at is a pretty old problem, and it involves the contamination that we suffer with diesel engines. It hasn't got better, in some respects it's got worse, and is leading to an awful lot of problems with the functionality of modern diesel systems. And the reason it's getting worse is for several obvious additional components which are now fitted to diesels, not previously fitted in the old-fashioned systems of the past. EGR has been a problem for some time. The coking up of EGR causes things like mass meter problems with smooth running. Additional to that, we have contamination of intake runner flaps, turbulence control flaps. DPF contamination is another issue. It's going to get far worse before much longer because of the changes in the emission legislation. And the problem has been that the replacement of components like EGR valves is both labour intensive and potentially now quite expensive. Recently we were faced with a situation with a Volvo which has a fully motorised intake system, both throttle body and EGR, very expensive component, and we were presented with this particular tool. And my interest and focus for this presentation is not just the tool but also the product, because none of which I'm about to show you is actually new. And I'm tempted to say that there's a degree of scepticism from the trade in general with these sort of products. We've tried products in the past which have not performed as efficiently as we'd anticipated. I have to say this is the exception. We approached this with an open mind. I'm glad we did. We have since treated several vehicles with this system, so I know it works. This particular vehicle has not been treated previously. It's a 53 plate DD4 diesel Freelander. We have prepared the vehicle in as much as I've steam cleaned the engine. I have removed the EGR valve because it's very easy to take off and pre-clean. I'm going to go through that scenario in a moment. And I've prepared the vehicle in as much as the tool is in position, ready to operate. I'd like to talk about the product first and how the products vary in their application. I've mentioned that we've taken off the EGR valve. Where possible, if the EGR valve comes off fairly easily, there is a throttle body intake cleaner, which the active ingredients in this product are of sufficient quantity to be in a very aggressive, very efficient means of cleaning carbon-based deposits. We have pre-cleaned the EGR valve. It is spotlessly clean, and the reason we've done that is because it came off so easily. It means that the next product, which is the intake system cleaner, this product is delivered into the air intake system. This is a diesel product. They do petrol version products. Into the air induction system. It's pulsed electrically and delivered under pressure. The pressure is adjustable. In our case, diesel, 6 bar of pressure. It is pulsed through a nozzle, through an injector, whilst the engine is running. And I think that's where part of the success story of this system is. It cleans the engine quite literally whilst it's running. The emissions out of the rear of the vehicle speak for themselves. It really does clear a lot of contamination. The focus really is on the intake system, the EGR valve, the inlet manifold, intake tracks, swirl flaps or turbulence control flaps, the back of the inlet valves, and in the cylinder. So in some cases it will help clean the top of the piston crown and the nozzle, well, partially clean the nozzle of the injectors. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute, if the condition of the engine or injectors is such that they simply want replacing, that this is going to fix the problem. It won't. But it will prevent prolonged contamination issues, drivability issues. The Volvo I mentioned in question drove impeccably with no other work other than this treatment, and it totally shocked me. So I'm quite enthusiastic. Being a technician, when something works, we obviously introduce it into our process, and we have successfully used it now on and many vehicles. So let's concentrate on what it does. I don't intend this to be a hard commercial, but in this case I can't avoid discussing the product because it's unique and also the tool. The other product that has been installed in the engine is an oil treatment conditioner, and once again we've used a lot of products for actually cleaning the engine out. This is the only one where we've actually drained the oil, put new oil in, and when you dip it, it's remained clean. In most of the cases, even with flushing, when the new oil is in, it's also dirty, more or less straight away with diesels. So once again, it's proved it's a very effective formula for flushing the engine, removing gum from around pistons and hydraulic lifters and associated components. So once again, these products are focused on both diesel and petrol in separate product ranges. So much for the product. Let's have a look at the technical aspects of what we're going to use. I need, first of all, to fill the pressure chamber with the product. And I'm going to just lift that off momentarily. There is a handy little funnel at the top of this chamber. This is the product that's going to pass through the engine. The entire process can take about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. So we're not going to film the whole process during this demonstration, but a sample of the process. So that's now full of the product. I need to place the compression stopper because we're going to compress this to 6 bar. That's got a rubber O-ring in there. I need to seal the valve. That allows pressure to build up when I connect it to a compressed air supply from a standard workshop compressor. When you've finished the process, you need to open that valve to depressurize the chamber before you take the stopper off. So that is a pressure relief valve, manual pressure relief valve. That's now closed. That can now hang up. I need to connect a compressed air supply to the device and set the pressure. I'll spin that around so I can show you the pressure which I'm about to apply. At the moment it's set at the pressure for petrol based system, about 2 bar. I'm going to increase that to 6 bar. That's now set. The valve is closed, otherwise we'll have a leak straight away. This valve and this gauge is controlled by this tap, on or off. There's no flow adjustment through that device at all. In this case, we are passing this through this triggering device. That triggering device controls this jet and nozzle assembly. That's the nozzle, which atomizes the fluid content with the aid of this device, which allows turbulence. Those holes draw in air and create a turbulence which is then drawn into the engine by the very intake of air, because the engine is going to be running, directly into the air intake. Now I've chosen this particular air intake straight into the throttle. Well, there's no throttle body as such, but straight into the intake manifold on the air cleaner side of the EGR valve. The EGR valve has pre-cleaned. I've already made that point clear because it's easy to take off and makes more sense. It makes more value of this product. This now simply pushes into the air intake. Where necessary, you may need to use a worm clip. In our case, we don't. There's going to be a degree of vacuum created by the engine taking in air as part of its normal function of running. What we do need to do now is, I believe we're all set up. I've already pre-tightened. There's also a flow gauge. A flow gauge is simply a sight block. So when the product is fully used, the flow gauge obviously will show no material, no liquid flowing across it. This triggering device has three options. Off, switch in the middle, 17 seconds, that's it, pulses every 17 seconds or every 12 seconds. Up to now we've used a 17-second timer function. So it's pulsing the product into the engine in intervals of 17 seconds. I think ready to go. All unions are tight. We have 6 bar, the valve is off. The next thing we need to do is run the engine, engage the trigger, and I've got, because we're filming indoors, it is on an exhaust extractor. I'm hopeful that to finish off the presentation of this tool and product, that we might just film the back of the exhaust stream, but we need to move the vehicle to do that, because I think what comes out the back will certainly convince you how much of the deposits are being removed. So we're ready to go. We'll switch the extractor on, start the engine, and come back and then open the valve. You don't need to rev the engine up, indeed it can draw enough air at idle through this device to enable the engine to run, as you can see. At the moment we haven't opened the valve or set the trigger mechanism, so we'll open the valve. That's reporting the pressure in the system. I'm now going to engage the trigger. This now will intermittently pulse the product at 6 bar through the triggering device to the nozzle and then into the engine. As I say, this whole process, depending on the volume of product and the amount of time you've selected, will take around 20-30 minutes until the entire volume of product has been ingested with the engine. And it really is that simple. The process is exactly that. All I need to do now is monitor the flow so that when the product is finished we simply turn the tap off and then reassemble the engine. That really is it. However, because of the aggressive nature of the product, you will find when you drive it on the road a lot of emissions out of the exhaust, initially for a short period only. Now the engine now is starting to run quite lumpy. It's obviously taking product in now. The engine will continue to run on the product as well as the diesel fuel being added through the injectors. An increase in diesel knock is obvious. As I say, we intend to film the actual emissions of this product from the exhaust pipe to give you some idea just how successful this product is. Checking the delivery pressure. So what I suggest now, we take a break, let the product do some of its treatment, and then we'll finish the presentation with a view from the tailpipe showing just how much emissions, how much deposit this is being removed from the engine. So if you can join me in a short while, we'll show you the results of the process. Welcome back. As you can see, the effects of this product are remarkable. The amount of deposits that are present in the intake system in the engine, cylinder, combustion space is pretty much evidence of some of the problems we have with diesel. I'm quite confident this product works with intake systems, EGR valves, variable intake flaps, swirl control flaps. I'm also confident it will help prevent build-up of contamination, particularly with DPF filters, which is an issue we're all facing with at the moment. And no doubt the process is still going on in the background. There's no doubt you can hear and both see behind me. We've obviously moved the vehicle out of the workshop. You cannot do this process inside an enclosed environment. It has to be done outside. So I hope you found the presentation of some use. It's certainly a product I feel quite confident with, and we've now used successfully many times with great results. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thank you.